Hey everyone, and welcome back to Battleborn. I've got a new build for you. This one is for Reyna, and I call it Omen of Death. And that is exactly what this is. We're going to hit people with priority target. It's going to put a giant icon over their head. They're going to take increased damage, and it's going to reveal them so they can't just stealth away. And then once we've got that priority target on them, we're going to unload on them with our pistol and get them slowed for a ridiculous amount of time. And then with the slow on them, it's going to be easy for our allies to go and finish the kill. Or we can just go ahead and finish the kill off ourselves because they're not going to be able to get away from us very easily. And I consider this a fantastic support ability on its own. But Reyna also has all of the defensive type of support. She can give overshields, she can heal shields, and she can do actual healing. So she's kind of got it all. I really think she's well-rounded in the support category for both being defensive and offensive. So it's really nice. Alright, so if this sounds like your type of build, let's jump into the Helix and I'll show you how to set this up. Okay, level 1, we're going to the left with Electrostatic Induction. That's going to add a shield heal to our shield booster ability, which also adds shield heal to the failsafe that we get on ourselves. Level 2, we're going to the right with Lockdown. That's that crazy slow I was talking about. Anytime we hit something with our plasma, pulse, or our laser pistol that has priority target on it, it's going to slow it for 3 seconds. So if we're just unloading on it constantly, as long as priority target is on, they're staying slowed. Alright, level 3, we're going to the right with Optical Amplifier. That's going to increase our laser pistol damage by 18%, and that is our main form of damage. Okay, level 4, we're going to the left with Vital Protocol. That adds a heal to our shield booster ability, which also adds it to failsafe. Level 5, we're going to the left with Improvised Tactics. That makes it so whenever failsafe is active on us, we get 15% reduction to our cooldown times. Level 6, we're going to the left with Vigilance. That's going to increase the overshield that's given through our shield booster ability and also the overshield we get from failsafe. Okay, level 7, we're going to the right with Pulse Pounder. That increases Plasma Pulse's damage by 18%. I don't use Plasma Pulse all that often, but when I do, it's nice to have that extra damage. And I consider the left Helix choice to be terrible. So that's why I go to the right on that level. Level 8, I go to the left with Most Wanted. That's going to increase priority target's debuff time by 4 seconds, getting it up to 10 seconds, which means that now you can essentially keep people permanently slowed, because right as priority target wears off, it's pretty much coming off a cooldown. You can reapply it and then start hitting them again, and now they're re-slowed. Level 9, we're going to the left with Long Watch. That increases shield boosters duration by 6 seconds, which also increases failsafe's duration, which just means that you can now have your failsafe on yourself longer, which is going to give you that decrease to cooldowns for a longer period of time. So that's really nice. And level 10, we go up the middle with Huddle Up. That's going to grant an overshield to all of our allies near us when we use the ultimate. But just be aware that it does not give you an overshield, just your allies. So just be aware of that. Don't expect it to save you, but it's nice for shielding up all of your allies. Alright, so those are the Helix choices that I make. Let's jump over to the gear, and I'll show you what I picked for that. And for this first set is for Incursion and Meltdown, and it's my normal set. I love this set. It's fantastic on so many characters. So the first item I go with is this Survivor's Regrowth Serum, 7 health regen per second, and an extra 4.2 if I live for 3 minutes. And then I've got this Eviscerating Endoskeletal Graft for attack damage and attack speed. And then the Vow of Zealous Fury from Rendain, attack speed, critical hit damage, and stacking attack speed every time I use a skill. So those are for Incursion and Meltdown. If I'm going into Capture, this is the set I like to take. This first item is the Artificial Vitae. It adds 7 health regen per second. Second item is this Hurricane, increases my attack speed. And the third item are these Sketchy Boilermakers. This is a free item. Gives me 5.6% movement speed, but it is a nerf to my heal power. Now that may seem like an odd choice, but I just find that the healing power isn't as useful to me in Capture. I just don't do as much healing. It's mostly just shielding people, and that movement speed keeps me alive. So I like having this item for 0 cost. Otherwise, I don't always get it activated, and I really want the attack speed and the health regen as well. So that's why I choose to take a hit to my heal power. I don't really find it affects me in Capture. Although I would never ever nerf my healing power in Incursion or Meltdown. It's just not a good idea, but in Capture, I find it doesn't really hurt me. So that's why I go with that. Alright, so those are my Helix choices and my gear choices. Let's jump to some clips, and I'll explain to you how the level progression works with this build. At level 1, the goal is simply to level up. Your wave clear on Reyna is terrible, so just try to get a shot on each minion in the wave and soak up that assist experience. Mark any enemy players that get in range, as it will usually prompt your team to swarm them and potentially pick up the kill, or at least cause that enemy to retreat. Also, just be on the lookout for any allies starting to take some damage and hit them with shield booster as soon as their shield drops. Unless of course they're Eldred, then just shield boost them whenever you think is most beneficial. Level 2 turns you into one of the scariest Battleborn in the game as far as I'm concerned. The combination of being marked with priority target and the slow, as long as you're following up with pistol shots, is extremely devastating, especially if the enemy is not coordinated. If a player finds themselves out of position, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to make it back to safety, and priority target seems to get everyone's attention to focus a target, so you're almost guaranteed to get support damage. I mean, I've had so many players that just seem oblivious to everything that's going on, but as soon as I hit an enemy with priority target, they swarm all over them. Level 3 gives you a sizable boost to your pistol damage, and even though Reyna's damage isn't that high, because she is a support character after all, her pistol is fairly easy to aim, and a flurry of critical hits does a ton of damage. It's much easier to land those critical hits too when your target is slowed for such a long period of time. It's actually quite shocking how many characters Reyna can win against 1v1 as long as you land priority target. But if you miss that priority target, then all bets are off, because without that slow, she just gets eaten alive. So if I miss the priority target, I usually just run away and sort of regroup. Level 4 is a big level because you get the heal on your shield booster, both healing your target and yourself. It's not a huge heal, but if you're playing Reyna well, you shouldn't need much actual healing since shields should be soaking up most of the damage. Having the heal makes it really easy for you to keep lane presence, especially when combined with the regeneration gear I like to bring. Reyna holds a lane better than any other character I've used, assuming, of course, there is another person on the lane to take care of those minions, or at the very least, just nearby to use for shield booster. Level 5 gets you decreased cooldowns whenever failsafe is active on you. This is not something I actively attempt to utilize and is rather just a passive boost that comes in really handy. Level 5 also gives you the ultimate, which is an incredibly useful ability, but can also get you killed if used incorrectly because it leaves you vulnerable to close range attacks. There's many uses for the ult, but the ones I use it for most often is assisting with the sentry push on Incursion or activating it to throw melee characters off of me. If melee characters are swarming all over you, you can activate that ult. It's going to push them away from you and give you just enough space so you can run away to safety. Level 6 increases the amount of your overshield given from your shield boosters. As usual, this also applies to the failsafe applied to yourself. Between the overshield, shield heal, and health restoration, every shield booster accounts for a ton of absorbed and healed damage. Level 7 increases Plasma Pulse's damage by 18%. As I said earlier, this isn't overly useful since Plasma Pulse is only effective against shields, but you should definitely be using it whenever there's shields to be destroyed. It's great against Shepherd bots or enemy Battleborn with large shields or overshields, like Shanan Aurochs or an enemy Reyna. The only thing I don't like about Plasma Pulse is that the projectiles fly much slower, so they're much more difficult to hit your target with. Level 8 increases the duration of your priority target, which equates to basically permanent slows as long as you're landing your pistol shots. By this point in the match, I usually have all my gear activated, so I'm doing respectable damage, and preventing players from escaping that damage is really brutal. I normally start racking up a ton of kills at level 8. If I'm not already doing so, I'm starting to be a huge headache for the other team. Level 9 increases the duration of the overshield applied from shield booster by 6 seconds, and level 10 applies an overshield to all nearby allies when you activate your ultimate. Both are useful abilities but are typically passive additions rather than something you actively strive to utilize. Well, there you have it, the Omen of Death build for Reyna. This build is hands down the best build I've used for solo queue. It's been a vital part of the team in every single game I've played with it. If you want a build and character that's going to be relevant in essentially any situation that gets thrown at it, definitely give this a try, and if you do, be sure to let me know how it works out for you in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.